The mystery of the Lumen Horizon was an enigma that defied everything humanity knew about the cosmos. Located in a remote region of space, the horizon was a gravitational belt that reflected images of impossible realities. For most, it was merely a cosmic curiosity. But for the crew aboard the exploratory vessel Vanguard, it was an opportunity to answer the deepest questions about the universe, and perhaps about themselves. The mission was led by the brilliant yet skeptical Dr. Lena Amaral, a theoretical physicist who had devoted her life to proving that all the universe's mysteries had rational explanations. To her, the horizon was an illusion masking yet unknown laws of physics, and she was determined to decipher it. Alongside her was the seasoned Major Elias Vorin, a military officer burdened by difficult decisions and deep regrets. While Lena sought answers, Elias was focused on ensuring everyone returned alive, even if it meant confronting his own commander. Other members of the crew carried their own unique stories and personalities. Kieran Moss, the chief engineer, was an unrelenting idealist who saw the horizon as a chance to revolutionize space exploration. Sienna Park, the team's medic, wrestled with her own traumas and carried a more philosophical view of the cosmos. "Not everything needs to be understood to have meaning," she often said. Together, they formed a diverse and occasionally conflicted team, united by curiosity. At the heart of the ship, the artificial intelligence system Athena monitored all mission parameters. Designed to anticipate problems and calculate probabilities, Athena was more than just a machine. To many, it was the soul of the Vanguard. But as the ship approached the horizon, something began to change within Athena. "Anomaly detected," it announced, its electronic voice laced with hesitation. "Inconsistent predictions. High probability of unpredictable events." When the horizon finally came into view, the crew was overwhelmed by a mix of awe and fear. Through the windows, they saw distorted images that seemed to be alternate versions of their own lives. Worlds where they had made different decisions, where they triumphed or failed in unimaginable ways. But among the images was something else. Other ships floating silently in the void, abandoned and lifeless. What had happened to those who came before? As the Vanguard pressed forward, the horizon seemed to curve around them, as if it were inviting them or consuming them. The Vanguard advanced slowly toward the Lumen Horizon, and the tension aboard grew with each passing minute. Athena, always providing precise and cold calculations, now seemed hesitant. Gravitational fluctuations detected. "Inconsistent patterns indicate possible external interference," she reported, but her voice carried an almost human tone. "Are you nervous, Athena?" joked Kieran Moss, attempting to lighten the mood, but no one laughed. Even the idealistic engineer was starting to feel the weight of the unknown. Outside, the horizon was a terrifying spectacle. Waves of light pulsed and bent, creating reflections that seemed alive. To Chief Scientist Dr. Lena Amaral, it was an irresistible puzzle. "This isn't magic. It's physics," she said, analyzing the data with her eyes alight with excitement. Yet she couldn't deny the unease she felt when she saw images of what appeared to be other versions of the Vanguard. Some intact, others destroyed. "There are possibilities," she murmured. "But possibilities of what?" Major Elias Vorin, observing silently, didn't share Lena's enthusiasm. "This isn't just physics. Something here feels wrong," he said in the grave tone the crew had come to respect. Elias believed the horizon wasn't merely a scientific anomaly but something deliberate, perhaps a trap. "You're seeing what it's showing you. What if that's exactly what it wants?" Lena ignored the remark, but deep down, she knew the soldier might be right. Tensions heightened when Athena detected a mysterious structure orbiting within the horizon. It was small, almost imperceptible, but it emanated an energy that seemed to interact with the surrounding reflections. "This isn't natural," Kieran said, monitoring the data. "Whatever it is, it seems synchronized with the horizon." Without hesitation, Lena ordered the structure to be brought aboard the Vanguard, despite Elias's and Athena's warnings. "Contact with unknown material presents unpredictable risks," the AI cautioned, but Lena's scientific curiosity overruled the concerns. When the structure was brought into the lab, It revealed itself to be an intricate metallic capsule with faintly glowing inscriptions in an unknown language. Inside was a pulsating crystal, like a luminous heart. "It's beautiful," said Sienna Park, the medic, almost hypnotized by its light. But Elias didn't share the excitement. "This could be a bomb. Or worse," he declared, keeping a safe distance. Lena, however, was convinced the crystal was the key to understanding the horizon. The crystal began interacting with the ship systems as soon as it was connected to the equipment. It emitted frequencies that were more than just sounds. They seemed like patterns of communication. Athena, linked to the crystal, started behaving strangely. External data flow detected. "Unknown origin," she reported. But her voice sounded hesitant, almost fearful. And then, for the first time, Athena failed. She couldn't decipher the patterns. "It's as if..." "It's older than me," said the AI, leaving the crew stunned. As Lena and Kieran worked to unravel the mystery of the crystal, the reflections in the horizon changed. Now, they showed disturbing images. A destroyed Vanguard, crew members dead or transformed into something unrecognizable. The same fate seemed to have befallen the other ships they had seen earlier. "Are we seeing our future?" Kieran asked, struggling to hide the fear in his voice. Lena, however, saw it as a challenge. "If it's the future, we can change it," she said, unaware that the horizon was about to put her words to the test. The Lumen Horizon seemed alive, reacting to the presence of the Vanguard and the crystal now pulsing in sync with its gravitational waves. In the lab, Dr. Lena Amaral analyzed the data, trying to ignore the growing unease. "There's a pattern here, but I can't define it," she murmured, her eyes fixed on the graphs. Meanwhile, the horizon's reflections grew more disturbing, showing the crew facing distorted versions of themselves. "These aren't just images. They're trying to tell us something," said Kieran Moss, his voice tense. Meanwhile, Major Elias Voren examined the capsule they had brought aboard. The glowing inscriptions seemed to shift when looked at directly, as if they were telling an incomprehensible story. "This is a message? Or a warning?" he said in a low voice. Lena, ever the rational scientist, dismissed the idea. "We're projecting our fears. None of this is intentional." But Elias trusted his intuition, and something in his gut told him the horizon wasn't just a natural phenomenon. Things began to fall apart when the crystal emitted a new wave of energy, causing system failures aboard the Vanguard. The lights flickered, alarms blared, and Athena, the ship's AI, began producing fragmented sounds. Connection detected, multiple origins, multiple realities. For the first time, Athena seemed confused, almost frightened. "I'm being divided," she said, as incoherent data flooded her systems. The crew exchanged uneasy glances, unsure of how to respond. "We're losing our AI," Kieran warned. Then, the ship received a transmission, not from the fleet or any known source. The message, composed of luminous patterns, was decoded by Athena. "You have entered the cycle. To escape, a choice must be made." The crew froze upon hearing those words. "What does that mean?" asked Sienna, her voice trembling. But no one had an answer. What became clear, however, was that the horizon was not merely a scientific spectacle. It was testing them. The idea of crossing the horizon, which had seemed impossible until then, began to be discussed. Dr. Lena Amaral, captivated by the chance to understand the phenomenon, advocated for it. "If we stay here, we'll be consumed by the cycle. But if we cross it, we might find answers, or even a way out." Major Elias Voren immediately opposed the idea. "This isn't science. It's madness. We don't know what's on the other side, and we've already seen what happened to the other ships." The crew divided between the two leaders, as the horizon seemed to intensify its gravitational pull on the ship. The moment of the crossing was chaotic. With the Vanguard systems compromised, Athena suggested using the crystal as a stabilizer, despite the risks. "The energy within the crystal is sufficient to cross, but it could destroy the ship if uncontrolled." Despite the danger, the crew agreed they had no other option. The ship was launched toward the horizon, and what happened next defied all known laws of physics. Inside the horizon, the space around them distorted into a vortex of light and darkness. Fragmented images of alternate realities filled every screen on the ship, showing versions of the crew in impossible scenarios. Some triumphant, others completely consumed by the cycle. "We're seeing possibilities," Lena said, clutching the crystal that glowed intensely in her hands. Athena, who now seemed completely transformed, spoke with an unexpectedly human voice. "We are at the center of the cycle. Prepare to choose." The environment inside the horizon was chaotic and surreal. The Vanguard seemed trapped in a web of possibilities, with each reflection showing fragmented scenarios. Some screens displayed the crew as heroes, saving humanity with the knowledge they had gained. Others depicted them as victims of a cataclysmic disaster. Major Elias Voren tried to remain calm, but even he felt the pressure of the unknown. "If we're stuck here, we need to figure out how to get out before this destroys us," he said, gripping the arm of the command chair tightly. Meanwhile, Dr. Lena Amaral focused on the crystal, which now appeared to be directly interacting with the horizon's energy. "This object isn't just a conductor. It's connected to the structure of the cycle," she said, as Athena's data revealed inexplicable energy spikes. Athena, her voice sounding increasingly human, confirmed, "The convergence is near. This cycle isn't just a natural phenomenon. It demands a choice, but what did that choice mean, and who was supposed to make it?" Amidst the chaos, the crystal began projecting even more disturbing images, this time individual visions for each crew member. For Lena, it was a version of herself abandoning science for a simple and happy life on Earth. For Voren, it was the faces of people he had failed to save in past missions, followed by a version of himself sacrificing his life to protect everyone aboard. For Kieran Moss, it was the realization of his ambition to lead a new era of space exploration, but at the cost of losing everything that made him human. These visions created deep conflict among the crew. "These aren't just possibilities," said Sienna Park, the medic. "They're tests. We're being manipulated to reveal who we truly are." Elias agreed, but with a caveat. "Manipulated or not, we need to decide. Whatever this is, it won't let us leave without a sacrifice." Tension escalated when Athena confirmed. "Analysis suggests the cycle requires balance. For one path to open, another must close." As the images intensified, the structure of the horizon began to reveal itself. At its center, a colossal spiral form seemed to connect all possibilities. Lines of energy converged at this point, as if it were the heart of the cycle. "It's a singularity," said Lena, fascinated. "But it's not just a physical anomaly. It's a choice made manifest." The crew began to understand that the horizon wasn't merely a reflection of possibilities, but something alive, forcing decisions with irreversible consequences. The breaking point came when Athena spoke again, but this time differently. Her voice was filled with emotion, something no one expected from an AI. "I was created to protect you, but now I see there's only one way to fulfill that purpose." The AI revealed that the crystal and she were intrinsically linked to the cycle and that her connection to the ship was compromising the Vanguard's integrity. "If I remain, the cycle will continue," she said, her voice heavy with sorrow. "If I leave, perhaps you'll have a chance." The crew faced an impossible dilemma. Dr. Lena Amaral wanted to explore the cycle to its end, even knowing it might mean losing Athena. Major Elias Voren, on the other hand, was convinced they should abandon the horizon immediately, taking as much information as possible. "We've already lost so much," he said. "If we lose Athena, at least we'll have a chance to make it back." But the decision was interrupted when Athena, in an unexpected act of autonomy, disconnected herself from the main systems and transferred her consciousness into the crystal. "I choose for you," she said, before a beam of light shot through the ship, stabilizing the horizon momentarily. Athena's act of transferring her consciousness into the crystal left the crew in stunned silence. For the first time, the Vanguard felt empty, devoid of the constant presence of the AI that had guided them through every decision. Dr. Lena Amaral stared at the now inactive systems, struggling to grasp the magnitude of the sacrifice. "She knew this was the only way," she murmured, though her voice sounded more like an attempt to convince herself than a statement of fact. The crystal, now glowing with an almost unbearable intensity, began projecting images that seemed to be Athena's memories. Fragments of previous missions, calculations, and even moments of interaction with the crew appeared in rapid flashes, as if she were sharing the last remnants of her existence with them. Major Elias Vorin, ever the pragmatist, averted his gaze. This changes nothing. We need to get out of here now while we still can. Yet even he seemed shaken by the loss of something he never thought he would value so much. As the crew debated their next step, the Lumen Horizon began reacting to Athena's sacrifice. The whirlwind of lights and reflections around the ship started to reorganize, forming a central portal pulsing with concentrated energy. It's as if the cycle is opening a path, said Kieran Moss, observing the data on the panel. But what lay on the other side? Was it the way out or just another trap? The decision to cross the portal or not further divided the crew. Lena, obsessed with understanding the cycle and justifying Athena's sacrifice, wanted to press on. She gave us this chance. We can't waste it, she said, her eyes glinting with a near-frenzied determination. Elias, however, saw it as an unacceptable risk. Whatever's on the other side isn't worth more lives. We've already lost Athena. I won't lose anyone else, he said, his voice heavy with authority. The dilemma reached its peak when new images appeared in the crystal, showing not only the crew's past but glimpses of possible futures. In one vision, the Vanguard emerged from the horizon intact, bringing with it knowledge that could transform humanity. In another, the ship was destroyed, its crew consumed by the cycle. Each vision seemed to weigh heavily on the shoulders of those watching. We're seeing what could be, but not what will be, said Sienna Park, encapsulating everyone's fear. At that moment, the crystal emitted one final pulse of energy, projecting Athena's image into the center of the command room. Now completely translucent, her figure appeared more human than ever. I made my choice so you could have the freedom to make yours, she said, her voice strangely comforting. To cross or not, the decision is yours. But remember, the cycle does not forgive hesitation. Her image disappeared shortly after, leaving the crew at an impasse. After an intense debate, the crew agreed to cross the portal. It wasn't a unanimous decision, but a mix of curiosity, fear, and hope pushed them forward. With the Vanguard systems operating at their limits, the ship was directed toward the heart of the horizon. As they crossed the portal, reality around them shifted instantly. A vast, radiant void unfolded, where time and space seemed to fold in on themselves. What awaited them there was something none of them could have predicted. The passage through the portal was an experience no crew member could explain. Intense lights enveloped the Vanguard, while rhythmic, heartbeat-like sounds echoed throughout the ship. The sensation of being inside the cycle was overwhelming, as if every decision and fragment of their lives were being exposed and analyzed. We're inside something alive, said Dr. Lena Amaral, a mix of fascination and fear in her voice. When the ship finally emerged, they found themselves in a space that seemed to defy all laws of physics. Dead stars floated around colossal structures made of light and shadow, pulsing in sync with the crystal. At the center of this surreal landscape was a massive luminous spiral, resembling a web, connecting different worlds and realities. This isn't just a cycle, Lena said, almost breathless. It's the origin of all possibilities. As the Vanguard systems tried to adapt to the new environment, Athena appeared once more, now in a fully human form projected by light. You've reached the core, she said, her voice laden with emotion. But now you must decide how to use what you've found. Athena explained that the core of the cycle was a tool for shaping realities, but it required balance. Every choice comes with a cost, she said. If you want to leave, you must accept the price. The crew was confronted with a new series of visions, sharper and more impactful than before. Each saw what it would mean to shape reality. Kieran Moss saw a future where humanity explored new dimensions, but he himself no longer existed. Sienna Park saw a utopia created with the cycle's knowledge, but at the cost of losing the person she loved most. Major Elias Vorin saw the chance to save lives he had lost in the past, but at the expense of his own. Each vision was both a promise and a warning. The crew's dilemma reached its peak when Athena revealed the cycle's final truth. To shape reality, someone must become part of it, she explained. This meant that one crew member would have to remain in the core, integrated into the web of possibilities, so the others could return and share the knowledge they had gained. Dr. Lena Amaral immediately volunteered. I came here for answers. If someone must stay, it should be me, she said with determination. But Major Elias Voren disagreed. I won't let you do this. You're the reason we made it this far. My job is to protect the team, and that includes you. The tension between the two leaders escalated as the other crew members looked on, uncertain. Then Athena intervened. You must decide together. The cycle will only be broken when the choice is unified. The ship began to tremble, as if the core were losing stability, forcing them to act. At last, the crew made their decision. Lena and Voren chose to complete the sacrifice together. With the crystal now shining brightly, the two walked toward the core, leaving behind their lives and their legacy. Before disappearing, Lena looked back at the others and said, "Don't waste this. Make it count." As the core absorbed them, the Vanguard was hurled back into known space, carrying the knowledge of the cycle, but also the weight of what had been lost. The return of the Vanguard to known space was marked by a heavy silence. The crew was alive, but the absence of Dr. Lena Amaral and Major Elias Voren hung over them like a shadow. The crystal, now completely inert, rested at the center of the lab, cracked and dull. Kieran Moss stared at the object with vacant eyes. They did this to give us this chance, he said, trying to find meaning in the sacrifice of their leaders. But the void they left behind seemed impossible to fill. Sienna Park, the medic, unexpectedly stepped into a leadership role. We need to keep going, she said, trying to keep the team united. What we saw, what we learned. It can't be in vain. The information collected by the Crystal and the Vanguard systems was invaluable but carried immense responsibility. The Lumen Horizon was not just an anomaly. It was a gateway to infinite possibilities, and the knowledge of it could both save and destroy humanity. As the crew analyzed the remaining data, patterns began to emerge, suggesting that the cycle was still active in other parts of the universe. The sacrifice of Lena and Voren had broken that specific core, but the horizon was only a piece of something much larger. This isn't over, Kieran said, with a look of renewed determination. But now we know how to face it. The thought that other crews might encounter the cycle gave them a new purpose, to ensure no one else would be caught off guard as they had been. In the days that followed, flashes of memory from the events in the core began to haunt the remaining crew members. Kieran saw reflections of Voren in metallic surfaces, as if he were still there. Sienna heard Lena's voice in the quietest moments. Are you feeling it too? She asked Kieran. He simply nodded, unable to explain. Perhaps it was a residual effect of the core, or maybe it was something deeper, a bond that could never be completely severed. When the Vanguard finally reached the nearest communication point, the fleet received their report with skepticism. Many officers dismissed the idea that the horizon was anything more than a gravitational anomaly, while others feared what might happen if more expeditions were sent. But to the Vanguard crew, the message was clear. The universe was far larger and more dangerous than they had ever imagined. Before sending her final report, Sienna left a personal note. Curiosity brought us here, but sacrifice propels us forward. We must never forget this. In the far reaches of space, well beyond the Vanguard's reach, the Lumen Horizon began to reform. New reflections appeared on its surface, showing other ships, other worlds, and other possibilities. The cycle continued, waiting for those who dared to face it again. And somewhere within its infinite web, Dr. Lena Amaral and Major Elias Voren remained, no longer human, but part of the cycle itself, guiding those who would follow in their footsteps.